Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host, Caliban. I'm also the noob, and we got one for you today.
Yes, we do. And we're a couple of magical people ready to moon cosmic power make up this episode. Today we are talking about episode number 119, Chimoku no Messiah Kakusei, Unmei no Hoshiboshi in Japanese, The Messiah of Silence Awakens, Stars of Destiny, the English translation, and the English title, Goodness Eclipsed.
Goodness Eclipsed.
It's like...
It's an astronomical thing.
Yeah.
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 And we'll maybe get into that in a little bit. But
yes.
I want to know about Hokusei. Hoshiboshi.
Oh my gosh.
People always say that they like how French sounds. I don't even know what he's saying. French guy, subtitle. Who is this idiot?
Yeah,
who
right.
Doesn't speak French. But you know, I just love how Japanese sounds.
I do too.
It's so interesting. It has such interesting tonalities and the phonetics of it. And I love it so much that I reserve the right to make fun of it once in a while.
That's okay. I will allow it.
It's all right to make fun of it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fine. We're doing an entire podcast.
We are.
On their show.
We are.
So we've earned the right to poke a little fun here and there.
Yes, I think so.
Do we? Huge grab of the wheel.
Oh, boy.
Right off the bridge into the river. Do we talk about the fate of Shinzo Abe at all on the show? Big news.
We can.
Big international news out of Japan.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I just am like shocked because it's something that I thought would never happen in Japan. That the prime minister would be shot.
A little history lesson because I was sort of thinking about this and kind of reading about it. But it is the first time that I don't know when a sitting PM, possibly never a sitting PM has been assassinated. Still, because he was not.
He was
former prime minister.
Yeah.
But just in terms of like the establishment of the prime minister as an office, I'd have to look it up. But I do know that the last time a former prime minister was assassinated was back in the 30s, the early 30s.
Okay.
There was a coup. Not dissimilar from the coup that led to the fall of the USSR, but was ultimately a failed coup. And this was a failed coup as well.
Okay. By
military leaders who thought that, the country was becoming too westernized. This shows up in Japan a lot, right?
It does.
And they, some of the military leaders and generals sort of moved against the government, assassinated I think 2 former prime ministers. And then it fell apart eventually because one of the generals, who had a lot of power, was not into it. Okay. And so it failed ultimately, although the country ended up going that way anyway when they, signed up with the Axis powers for the promise of the Pacific and China and all that other land. And so that didn't go so well.
No, it didn't.
But nothing like this has really happened since then. And so it is, it's weird.
It's really weird.
And it's in episodes past of this show, I've made no bones about how I think he was a horrible person.
Yeah.
He took Japan in the absolute wrong direction, and they are still feeling the effects of that. And of course, he's just the prime minister among other ministers who are on board for everything that he was saying. So
right.
They got problems. Everybody's got problems these days.
Yeah, that's right.
He did not deserve to die like this. No one does.
No.
But it is interesting that it was just some whack job who did it. It wasn't even something as politically significant as, a third of the army going, we kind of want things to be different, so it's got to go like this.
Right.
It was just some goofball.
It's just one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, lots of nutty things are happening in this, our 21st century. And I don't know how we're going to get back to quote unquote normal, or at least people not, going off and killing other people.
Yeah,
but
I don't know either.
It seems to be a symptom of the times, but yeah, it's just really scary and awful, and yeah, probably better that it had not happened.
Yeah, didn't you tell me too? Like,
although the person that it happened to,
I know.
If you gave me a short list,
didn't you tell me too that the guy who shot him, like, thought that he was involved with the Moonies and like.
Yeah, and honestly, and whatever you think about the Moonies,
yeah,
I don't know if that I have not seen that like confirmed, which is why I didn't bring it up.
Oh, okay.
But but even so, the Moonies don't deserve to be associated with this kind of act,
and they don't deserve to be shot.
Whatever
either.
you think about them, Moonies, I don't agree with them.
Yeah,
and I think that their organization is a little sinister, but they don't want to do something like this.
No,
this is just this is bad for everybody.
It is bad for everybody. I agree. Oh my goodness! Can
it be turned around? Can we turn it around? Not the world, just this show.
Oh well, has goodness been eclipsed? I don't know.
For a second, you're contemplating. Oh boy, that's gonna be late. And I make a pot of coffee. I'm gonna be here.
I don't know.
No, we don't have to fix the world. Just our corner of the world.
Yeah.
This globe that we're spinning on.
Yes, this globe with constellations
being eclipsed.
Yes. I think we can turn it around with talk of this episode. I think we can bring it around and make. The goodness maybe not eclipsed. I don't know. What do you think?
Listeners, write in if you know what's going on.
I thought that maybe you could give us a breakdown of today's episode.
I'm waiting for whatever this is to finish, and then I'm going to do that.
Okay.
But maybe I'll just get right into it.
Let's do it.
I'll eclipse whatever's going on here.
Sounds good.
Because oh boy, we open once again inside Rei's nightmare.
I know.
Red skies, the sailor Senshi frozen. Mm-hmm. Tokyo getting nuked. She sees the sign of the 3 stars. Rei sees a figure. This figure who has figured within these visions. And she asks, are you the Messiah? And we see this kind of dark figure standing on a rock. Wind blowing her diaphanous gown against the red sky. She's holding a kind of staff, and it's got an ornate blade at the tip.
Yes.
It's kind of a pole arm, specifically a glaive. So that's 1d10 slashing damage. I'm assuming she has proficiency, of course. Rei says, I implore you, save everyone. And the figure looks at her, grabs her glaive by both hands, steady, and an image of the tarot card for death flashes across the screen.
I know!
So I'm thinking it's a no on that saving everyone.
Yeah, I think so.
It says, la mort.
Uh-huh.
That is death.
Yes.
Oh, it's French. Sounds so good. Shut up. We see a quick flash of what looks like Hotaru's face with glowing eyes. Why would we see that?
That's so weird.
Yeah. The glaive chick is stacked and has long hair.
Yeah.
Hotaru is a bony girl with a Louise Brooks haircut. It's weird. The dark Neshia leaps into the air and brings her glaive down on Rei.
I know.
There's a horrible squawk sound.
Yes.
We cut to Rei's room where the girls are busy studying, and Rei thinks, my dreams are becoming more vivid. Also, do I speak French? L'amour? Huh. Who is that girl that looks exactly like Hotaru? There's too many mysteries in my dreams. Just then, Chibi Usa arrives. She needs a favor from Big Sister Usagi. And Usagi's like, Big Sister Usagi? I don't remember ever being a big sister to anyone.
Single tear from Shingo.
Oh, Shingo! Yeah, of course. Chibi wants to go to the opening of the new Juban Planetarium. Mm-hmm. It's educational. And Minako is pumped that the cute DJ, Thomas Harris, will be there.
I know.
Thomas Harris? The author of Silence of the Lambs? Quid pro quo, Clarice. Some Sailor Moon writer's like, I need a Western name bookcase behind him. No, we used Sleeve McDichael last week.
I know.
William Shakespeare? No. Tyler Perry? No. Thomas Harris. Yes, of course.
Oh my gosh.
Sleeve McDichael. I looked up that list of names from that baseball game I told you about.
Yes.
It was an SNES game, I guess.
Okay.
It's called Fighting Baseball. Here are some of the names on that list.
Oh my God.
Remember, this is a Japanese person's idea of English names. Japanese are taking a hit this week, but we love them.
Yeah.
Onsen Sweemy.
What?
Daryl Archideld.
Oh my God. Daryl, sure.
Raoul Chamberlain. Tony Smehrick.
What?
Bobson Dugnut.
Just like add more consonants. It's fine.
Willie Dustis. Jeremy Greed.
Me greed.
Mike Truck. Mike Truck's a solid one. Dwight Rorchegall.
Portugal.
Just like Portugal? No, that's too close. Rorchegall. Oh, we got it.
Perfect.
Move on. Carl Dandleton.
Oh my God.
And Todd Gonzalez.
Oh my God. Gonzalez. I mean, I guess you have to keep in mind this is before the internet existed. So it's not like you can like look
Unless
up
you've
most
got a cousin
common
that goes to
names.
UCLA, you're screwed.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
just
totally
like,
screwed.
Yeah.
So
you go to your bookshelf.
Yes.
And you go, and then of course your books are in translated to Japanese.
Yes.
So phonetically,
Yes.
it's like Abraham Lincoln or whatever, Yes. You're just like, okay, just pick. Is it the squirrely, the squiggly one, or the one with the swoop?
Yes.
I don't know. Just put it in there. Whatever you got. If you somebody smarter than me probably knows this, but I know that like already the Japanese keyboard is, not all kanji or whatever, right?
It's like
phonetic,
hiragana and stuff like that.
To be faster. But then like if you're a programmer, you're definitely dealing with Western characters and Arabic numerals. And so there's probably like an intro to computing English language class that programmers have to take if they're going to work.
Oh, good point.
If they're going to program in, Windows or whatever the languages are.
There was a way when I was in Japan, there was like some sort of command you could do on your keyboard. So it would just be Romanji.
Yeah.
So it would be like letters and
Sure,
stuff like that.
like a virtual keyboard.
So because
situation.
I wanted to write emails home a couple of times when I was over there in high school. And so they're like, okay, let me do this for you.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would have been lost. I'm like,
well, Google Translate.
Yeah. Well, this is like early 2000s.
No, I know. Right. Nowadays.
Now Google Translate. But
all right. Well, anyway. Chibi wants to invite Hotaru, and I can't be sure, but I feel like there's a second pause from everyone.
Uh-huh.
And then they're all like, yeah, great. We'll all go.
Yes.
In case something horrible happens. Minako, surprisingly, is not boy crazy enough to not wonder, why do Haruka and the other outer senshi have Hotaru marked?
Yeah.
Notice she specifically mentions Haruka. Mm-hmm. Because Minako's got high LP.
What high LP?
Lesbian potential.
Oh my gosh.
It's a
wow.
thing. It's a thing. Look it up.
Wow.
Ami says, the enemy is still looking for pure hearts. Maybe Hotaru has a really pure heart.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Possible.
Rei again sees a flash of Hotaru in her mind and her weird glowing eyes, but thinks, nah.
I know.
Chibi says, all right, please buy us both tickets. And everybody's like, and Usagi's like, well, not me. But Minako says, well, things like this are a mother's responsibility. A mother looking after her daughter. How could we compete? And Chibi's like, oh, Mom. But Usagi's like, I haven't given birth to you yet.
It's so weird.
Babies having future babies. Sad. Everyone's having fun with this, but if you smell something burning, it's just Rei blue screening over her dark visions of Hotaru.
I know.
That night in Juban, on top of a skyscraper with a Zen garden,
I know.
we see Michiru, Haruka, and Setsuna. Michiru says, my dream of the world ending is getting more vivid. Because she's kind of the psychic one, right?
She is, yes.
And Setsuna says, the sooner we find the Meshiya, the better. Haruka says, I've had my eye on Professor Tomoe's daughter as a possible deathbuster. Mm-hmm. She's got strange powers. And Michiru says, the image in my vision of the girl is becoming clearer. She has a long weapon in her hand. It's Glaive, Michiru.
To Glaive.
Haruka and Setsuna say, oh my god, that could be the Scythe of Silence.
Yes.
Okay, Look, I can see my help is needed here. A scythe has a curved shaft with a handle and a curved blade that's sharpened on the inside edge. And it does 2d4 damage. That's the Scythe of Silence. This is the Glaive of the Grave.
Oh my god.
Well, anyway, this freaks everyone out, and they speculate that the Messiah of Silence might be the guardian of Doom, whose deity is the planet of destruction. And we see a silhouetted figure in front of what looks like the planet Saturn.
Yes.
We also see Saturn's alchemical symbol, so yeah, I'm thinking Saturn. We also see, again, La Mort.
Yes.
Which really makes me think we need to get serious on this Sailor Moon tarot deck. Think about it.
Yeah.
If we could get it done
great.
for like $39.99, right? People would buy that, right?
Yeah, we
line
need
up
to
an
find
artist?
a good artist.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, anyway.
I've seen some good art for Tarot Sailor Moon.
Oh, this is
tarot
already a
deck.
thing? Never
Well,
mind.
artists doing it, but like I don't think they've actually sold it. But
If we sold it, because people draw Sailor Moon, what is obviously Sailor Moon.
yes.
But if we sell it, do we get in trouble? It's like your shirt with
I
Batman hanging out with the Sailor Senshi, but they're
Yeah.
all like, there's nothing like trademarked on them. They're just like
Yes.
kind of different colors.
Yeah,
Would we have to do that?
maybe have to change it
And then
just
call
a
it
little
the
bit.
Sailor Loon.
Uh,
Tarot deck.
Sailors of the Moon.
Mariner Loon.
Yeah, Mariner Moon. I like that.
I think I've seen that art too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
anyway, we'll get around it somehow. Michiru says, well, if that's true, put a fork in us. We're done. But Haruka says, no, even if the Guardian of Doom reincarnated now, we can strike before she awakens. Haruka and Michiru agree that they can't give up, and Setsuna, like all authority figures in this universe, says nothing at all.
yes.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for your input, Setsuna.
Interior, a darkened room filled with creepy dolls. We're once again in Club Silencio.
No, I banda.
Through the speakers, the Messiah of Silence says, soon, very soon I will awaken. My alarm is set for 6 a.m. No snooze bar. When that happens, silence will envelop the planet. She's talking to Dr. Giggles, who says, we made the right choice in choosing you. Choice of choose. Allow myself to introduce myself. We see the Messiah in some pretty good light, and you know, it's Hotaru. I don't know what to tell you. You know,
Yeah, I
reveals
know.
are hard to do.
Yes.
So anyway, she lifts up a teddy bear that she's cradling and says, I am the only one who can make your wishes a reality. Presumably she means Dr. G and not the bear.
Presumably, yes.
It's Gaga.
Hurt everyone. Did Gaga just say hurt everyone?
She says, if you wish to awaken me sooner, you must get me a pure heart. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee a day, you can have your own silence messiah.
That's right.
You know, they don't say that anymore in charity commercials. Remember they used to say that?
Yeah, I do.
Sally Struthers is out, you know, with
Yes.
the kids in Africa. And for the less of the price of a cup of coffee a day.
Yes.
Now it'd be like, for less than a tall latte, no extra shot,
yes.
hold the foam,
Yes.
and no sous vide egg bites per day, you can help a child. To punctuate her words, she tears the bear in half
I know.
and throws it at Dr. G's feet. Gaga, no!
Gaga, cute name.
She says, make yourselves useful to me. Clean up around here. Make me happier. An enfant terrible.
Yes.
French. We cut to a TV where Thomas Harris is hosting Countdown 50, counting down the top 10 hits this week. I guess the other 40 hits were airing earlier.
Oh, good point.
Do they even do the top 40 show anymore? I used to listen to the top
I
40
don't
show
know.
as much as I could before we had to go to church. Every Sunday morning they would do, you know, it was Casey Kasem, the top 40, and then it
Yeah.
became or Shadow Stevens. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. Okay, Grandpa, I'll get you to bed.
I know what you're talking
But anyway,
about.
and because it's the top 40, like it just goes on forever and ever.
Yes.
And then you have to intercut it with like the anecdotes and the facts and a story coming for the break with a story about a dead dog. Get this dead dog story. Just Google it. But anyway, I guess we're just this is the Countdown 50, but we're just picking up in the last hour. Here
Yeah, I guess
for
so.
the 10
The top 10.
the top 10 shows. Thomas has a decidedly punk look.
Yes.
And I know that some are going to say he's supposed to be David Bowie, but I'm guessing that Johnny Rotten was the inspiration.
Oh, okay.
He's got Kool-Aid red hair. Which
Yes.
is kind of a Johnny Rotten thing. And he's got a suit jacket on in some of his photos that we see.
He does.
And Johnny often wore a tie and an Oxford shirt, sometimes a jacket when he performed.
Okay.
He was the ironically dressed up one in the Sex Pistols.
Sure.
On the show, though, this show, he's wearing like a mesh sleeveless V-neck, though.
Yeah.
Which is more of a Sid Vicious thing. So I think he's just like general punk.
I think you're right.
In this case. In fact, him speaking English and having an English name may be a reference specifically to punk, in British punk. Mm-hmm. Or just the English-speaking VJs of the time that I'm sure that Japanese people saw on MTV, too.
I mean, I think
you see
all
somebody
of them
hosting
could be
a video show. It's
Yes.
like, somebody on MTV.
Yeah.
Once again, Grandpa, it's time to bed. Come on.
I get what you're saying.
Glass of water. Down you go. We pull back and see that we're in the Witches 4 office, and Mehmet is watching the show, and she says, Thomas, I'm coming to see you soon.
Oh, no.
Thomas says, check out this song. Let's get it on. Is this the Motown Top 50?
Yeah, why
There is
why are
a
we
very
doing this?
famous song called Let's Get It On.
Yes.
It's funny how idiosyncratic the Japanese, and particularly the show, can get when they're trying to do English.
Yes.
Sleeve McDichael is a great example of that.
Yes.
But we have a whole segment about it at the end of the show.
Yes.
But when they have to come up with a quote unquote rock song, they go with Let's Get It On.
It's a weird pull.
Was Beat It too on the nose?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, what was
maybe.
going on? I mean, grunge hadn't gotten over there at this point. Because when grunge does, Thomas Harris, you have a job.
You're right. You're absolutely
throw
right.
a flannel over that mesh T-shirt. Keep going.
Yeah, that won't do.
The phone. How did they say Kennedy? Probably just Kennedy. Kennedy.
Probably.
The phone rings and Mehmet picks it up and it's the professor and she says, "Yep, I'm on it. Do you like stars?"
I'll give you stars.
She says as she looks at a flyer for the planetarium, she says, "I'll come through this time." On the other end, we see Dr. G and he says, "You're the only one I can count on, Mehmet." He hangs up and he looks at, I don't know, some kind of maybe experiment he's got going on. It's a bubble full of mist and sparkles.
Yep.
He says, "The stars know everything." There was a song like that once.
Yes.
Is that a David Bowie reference?
There's a rockabilly star called Misaki Hirao, and the song is called "The Stars Know Everything," and that's part of the lyrics as well.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
First of all, how does Dr. G know Japanese rockabilly?
I don't know if it's
what's the
pull to
rockabilly
that or not, but
was this before or after Visual K? What's the rockabilly wing of Visual K? I gotta check that out.
I know, right?
And second of all, is Nephrite a plagiarist? Because that was always Nephrite's thing.
No, you're right. The stars know everything.
The stars know everything.
I think it is actually a reference to Nephrite, but it also is
But how
like
would
that
Dr. G know
song.
I guess.
Yeah.
This show's
So
going meta on us. Hey, that's our job.
that's right.
You stick to writing transphobic jokes about the director of the episode.
Oh God! Don't even get me
Remember that?
started. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I don't remember what episode that was. But anyway.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
He also says, "Wish Upon a Star" is a song too. And we cannot afford to get sued over that, so no clip. Then he laughs his ass off because you have to sometimes,
Yes, you do.
We cut to the next day. Hotaru is walking home from school, and a girl runs up like, "Tomomi, let's do today's homework." Tomomi is not Hotaru.
No,
And she feels bad that she has no friends.
I know.
But is that true? Because she hears, "Hotaru-chan, and
Yes.
here comes Chibi."
That's right.
Great, I have a 6-year-old friend. 12-year-olds, know one thing about them. They love 6-year-olds.
Oh my God, I know.
And Chibi wants to go to the planetarium. Friendship. Chibi says, "Let's go." But Hotaru says, "I have to ask my dad first." And Chibi says, "The show will have started by then." And behind Chibi, Usagi, who is there with the squad,
I know.
says, "Girls today don't talk like that. If you have to ask your father, you'll never grow up." What is going on here?
This is horrible
What is this
advice.
message?
I know.
I would love to hear how this was changed for the dub. Hey, Antichrist, live a little.
Oh my gosh.
Chibi says, "Please, I'll go with you to apologize to your father." Yeah, that's not going to make anything better.
I know. It's like you already know you're going to be in trouble.
Chibi, you don't even know what you're asking.
No.
By the way. On second thought, her father just ate chips while his daughter was being swallowed by the Doctor Strange house. So
That's
even money,
true.
you're going to be all right, I think. Hotaru says, okay, I'll go. And their fates were all sealed.
Yes.
That night at the planetarium, the show has begun. The host, DJ Thomas Harris, is telling the story of Andromeda and how she was chained to a rock as a sacrifice to the sea monster Cetus.
Yeah.
As seen in the documentary Clash of the Titans. In the front row near Thomas's booth sits Mehmet, and she is freaking out.
Yes.
As she listens to him tell the story of all these doomed star maidens. Is it the cute boy or is it the girl murder?
The doomed star. Could be both.
The horribleness.
Could be both.
Yeah. In the back row are Haruka, Michiru, and Setsuna, and they've already scoped out Mehmet, but they can't figure out why the Senshi girls are here with Hotaru.
I know.
Haruka says, this could be to our advantage. We could finally see Hotaru's true nature. The show goes on, and DJ Hannibal starts talking about Scorpio and its pursuit of Orion. A lot of Western mythology here.
Yes.
I know that as far as the stars go, we kind of go back to the Greeks, who came up with a lot of this stuff, and the Romans, obviously. And so that's kind of spread. But I'm sure, is there another night where they do the Japanese
Great question.
mythology of the stars?
Yeah,
I hope
would have to assume so.
I mean, like, Sailor, Jupiter, Mars, we're already kind of like locked into a certain thing here, but
we are.
Yeah, anyway. Usagi almost seems to sense Setsuna behind her, and we cut to the foyer where the girls are meeting with Setsuna and asking her why she's here. Setsuna says, let me tell you the truth. We're here to stop the approaching silence. The enemy is the Deathbusters, invaders from another dimension. The silence is the destruction of the world. You've already seen it, haven't you, Ray?
I know. She gets called out.
See, this is what happens when you share information. It's also what happens before the end of an arc in an anime. Ray says, I've seen a vision of the destruction of the world. And maybe it's the planetarium setting talking, but we get a very detailed view of the sun exploding.
I know.
Or at least becoming a red giant, which would also be very bad for Earth.
Yes.
Setsuna says,
that's why I'm here.
And she says, focus your minds on the end of my rod. What? And you will see.
Stop it.
And you will see what Mars saw.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
Stop it.
We see again Mars's vision. We all do. Everyone is freaked out.
Yes.
And Setsuna says, if the enemy awakens the Messiah, this is what will happen. She's the final guardian who must not be allowed to awaken. She will appear at the moment the world is to be destroyed and lead us to death and nothingness. And she will show herself soon. Oh, they have cotton candy here. As she says this, we hear screams from the auditorium, and we cut there where a pink bird smoke reveals Uchoten. Uchoten is wearing a star.
Yes.
That is all.
That's pretty much it.
She says, let me be your wish upon a star. And she's not afraid of getting sued. Or pneumonia.
No.
As she fires a star blast from her headdress, which blows a star-shaped hole through one of the seats. And through the ceiling and the wall. They shatter the glass booth that DJ Hannibal is in. He grabs a chair to defend himself. And Mehmet says, you did well. And the demon says, ha ha ha, I certainly did. Uchoten. Mehmet says, take his heart. But first, can I have your autograph?
I know.
I don't know if he signs it first, but DJ Hannibal throws his chair at her.
Yes.
And she's like, no, okay, Charm Buster. And she blasts stars at the audience from her star wand.
Yes.
Hiding behind a railing are Chibi and Hotaru, but Hotaru is not looking so good. You know, the usual seizure. It's the usual seizure.
I know. It's horrible.
Chibi runs to get help, but she runs into Uranus, who says, let's just see how this plays out.
Let's wait it out.
Before Chibi can protest, the Sailor Senshi arrive. Stars shining bright. Wishes cast on sparkling stars. A planetarium is the place for dreams.
Yes.
You've disrupted that place of dreams. We're the Sailor Team. In the name of the moon, we'll punish you. Everybody get a line? Okay. Back in the lobby, we see sailors Neptune and Pluto, and they're just kind of standing there.
I know.
And Neptune's like, well, nothing that you told them was going to like get them to be quiet. Like they were going to do this anyway.
Yes.
So. In response to the sailors, Mehmet says, shut up. Uchoten, get them! And she descends with the projector into the floor.
Yeah.
I found out that the name of a projector in a planetarium is a star projector, which is really boring.
Oh.
For something so cool looking.
That is boring.
Possible that one of the first star projectors was called an orbitoscope, which I'm going to go with that.
That sounds
It was
cool.
also perfected by Carl Zeiss, a German guy.
Okay.
So there must be a name as long as your arm for this thing.
I would think so.
But I couldn't find it in the short amount of time that I looked for it. Anyway, Uchoten says, okay, everyone, wish upon a star, TM, and starts blowing holes in everything. Uchoten. At this point, Hotaru is in full freak out, and the sailor soldiers are pinned down. Uchoten says, if you like that earlier stuff, here's more of the same.
I know.
But a red rose pierces the center of her headdress. Tuxedo Mask is here.
Yes.
And I have to say, he's here in style.
He is.
He's, of course, on the second level.
Of course he is.
But since it's got the silhouette of the city painted on it, it looks like he's standing in front of the city. It's really cool.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He says, you are an evil, hurtful star, so I'll put a stop to you. No more wishing on a star.
Shh, you want to get sued?
Uchoten says, glad you like the show. Here's even more of the same. And she removes her headdress to reveal a star globe on top of her head.
Yes.
Which shoots many stars all over the place.
Yes.
It is a cavalcade of stars. Hotaru starts to get up, and as she does, creepy la-la music starts playing. And the symbol for Saturn appears on her forehead. Mm-hmm. The outer sailors all say, it is her!
Yes.
And everybody's freaked out. Uchoten says, I can't move. And Tuxedo Mask says, now Sailor Moon! We get the CMU to the RMH, and Uchoten is no more. The very second, the demon is dead. We get a world shaking, and a deep submerge, and a dead scream right at Hotaru's face.
Yes.
Hotaru sees it coming and smiles a little bit.
A little bit.
As Chibi throws herself in front of her, and Sailor Moon pushes them both out of the way as the combined attacks destroy what was left of the planetarium stage. Mm-hmm. Sailor Uranus says, step aside! Her deity is Saturn, the planet of destruction! And the other outers say, when Sailor Saturn awakens, it is the end of this world! But Sailor Moon says, you can't kill this girl! And Sailor Mars says, even if she is the Destructor, no one has the right. It's a little Ghostbusters here. We'll talk about it. A
little bit.
No one has the right to kill Hotaru to seal her away. Neptune says, we need to say that, but there's no other way to save the world. Mm-hmm. As this debate is happening, Hotaru begins to glow, and she just yeets out of there, disappearing.
I know.
Back at the Tomoe house, Hotaru appears in her bed, already asleep. Tough day, tough day. Being the Antichrist.
Yes.
Over her stands Kaori, who says, what a naughty girl to sneak off on your own.
I know.
In the basement lab, Dr. G is looking at his misty globe, and he says, that girl has the planet of destruction as her deity. She is Sailor Saturn. There is no one better to be the Messiah of silence. And we focus in on the snow globe, seemingly going into it, where we see Saint elsewhere. No. Confirmed. Part of the Westphall universe. No. Inside we see space, like a universe.
I think so.
And we zoom in to what looks like a swirling green portal in deep space.
Yeah.
Not too sure about that one.
No.
And that's the end.
That is the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
You just, wow.
Big episode.
You save everything until one episode, and, you get an episode like this.
I know.
I don't know, no mails, no calls. I know it's a sickle because of, or a scythe because of Saturn. I understand that.
Sure.
But a scythe looks a certain way. It looks like what the skeleton has on the 13 tarot card. They got a little goofy with it. And so when you've got a curved blade on the end of a pole, it's a pole arm weapon. And in this case, it would be a glaive. Not a glaive like Krull. That's not anything.
Sure.
That's just a star with blades on it that would cut your fingers off when you got it. And I think Family Guy's already covered that. Okay. So I get what it is.
But they also call it a silence glaive. Glaive.
Where do they call it that?
The outers, when they're talking on the rooftop.
Is this a different
garden.
Translation?
It might be a different translation.
All right, well then.
I
was right.
Yeah.
Although I'll tell you right now, you know who did that fan sub?
Who?
Some D&D nerd like me.
Yeah.
Definitely went,
excuse me, it's actually a glaive and not a sign.
Glaive.
Well, I think it's usually in most translations it's called the silence glaive for some, but I don't know why it sometimes is called the Scythe of Silence. So
yeah, that's what it said in my translation.
Yeah, because my translation said both. It said Scythe of Silence, and then it called it the Silence Glaive.
Or the Scythe of the Goddess of Death.
Yeah.
according to Sailor Moon Wiki.
Yeah.
.com.
So they just to make it
All right.
super confusing.
Well, then I am validated organically
Yes.
in my D&D knowledge.
yes,
But,
absolutely.
But
it is
a
Glaive.
But it is a Scythe, though, because she's Saturn.
Yeah.
What an episode!
Oh,
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy things.
It is crazy. There are crazy things happening in this episode.
We have a Ghostbusters, obviously the Deathbusters.
Yeah, obviously.
We know. Look, I'll get there. Trust me.
I believe you.
Jesus and T2, but maybe Jesus T2 and the Ghostbusters.
Perhaps.
And I love Jesus' style, you know.
Because there's a little bit of like we could get the Keymaster with the Gatekeeper.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And like
a little bit.
little Zool, Hotaru's like Zool, and we got to get her with a pure heart. Whoever's got the pure heart, and that's going to unleash Armageddon.
Yes.
For 1,000 years. Or
I
whatever.
think you're absolutely right. Yeah.
There's some of that going on.
Yeah, no, there totally is some of that going on.
I mean, that's all biblical or like kind of derived from the Bible.
Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And then I was also thinking about like time travel stories, but also like prophecy is kind of a form of time travel. It's information from the future sort of reaching into the past.
Sure.
And people are always trying to, either fulfill or subvert a prophecy.
Sure. Which
is kind of like, Marty, you've got to make sure that you have sex with your mom or whatever happens in that movie. And so they're kind of doing like a reverse Terminator in this. Because in like Terminator, it's like, we have to do whatever we can to protect Sarah Connor because she's going to give birth to John Connor, the man that leads the resistance in the future.
Right.
And in this, we have women from the ancient past who have been reincarnated in the present.
Yes.
To kill a young girl before she can be the person who destroys
That's true.
the future instead of saving it.
That's true.
It's a reverse Terminator.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Which is like when the T-1000 goes back, it does moonwalk. Goes back.
I like that.
Can we talk about Misty Globes?
Misty Globes,
Who's
yes.
my favorite porn star.
We can talk about Misty Globes.
From the 70s.
Right, sure.
What's going on? Is that okay? I know you can't say anything.
Yeah.
I get first of all, I get shades of. It's so stupid because I don't really like this movie, but it's all I can think of. Shades of Men in Black.
Oh, okay.
The cat's got the thing around the bauble around its neck, but it has a whole universe inside. There's universes and universes.
Yeah,
So is that what's going on?
Maybe.
Or because I've come to expect this after R. This is what I call the Death Phantom Swerve.
Maybe.
Where you book it along, you're like, I get what this is about. I understand what's happening here. Some ladies got some makeup and they want to kill the Senshi.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm sorry, what's up?
There's a Death Phantom.
What's going on now?
What's happening?
There's a Death Phantom.
Yeah.
With a globe.
Yeah.
And somebody turns into a dragon.
Yes.
And what's going on?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, what's going on?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're from another dimension?
It's mysterious.
Are they from a dimension where there's a Zool and a Vince Clortho, the Keymaster?
Yeah, right. They're from a dimension where Ghostbusters is real, is where they're from. So, and to stay away from copyright infringement, they call themselves the Deathbusters instead of Ghostbusters.
Many shrooms and Zools knew what it was like to be roasted in the depths of a floor that day, I can tell you.
Yeah. I think it's just like the globe is just supposed to be mysterious and get you like thinking, what could that be? What could that mean?
Well, the last
I'd
time
better tune in next time as
Yeah.
if you were going to stop now.
Well,
anyways.
the last time there was a globe, it was a Death Phantom Swerve. So,
Oh, you're right.
yeah, lots of globes in that too.
Yeah, you're right.
So
Ooh.
I'll be watching this with great interest.
Yeah. Queen Beryl had a globe too.
Yeah, that's
her
true.
scepter.
She did. These evil guys and their globes.
Yeah.
We should just ban globes.
We should just ban
Get
them.
globes out of the hands of villains.
What have
It takes a
globes-
good guy with a globe to stop a bad guy with a globe.
It does. What have globes ever done for us? Anyways.
Yeah. What do we
Besides-
think about when we think about globes? I like that they are, and maybe this is like, so let's see what you think about this.
Okay.
I should probably save this for like a special episode, but I'm going to give this away for free. I like in this episode that we are looking at stars, but it sort of I honestly thought that Mehmet was going out in this episode. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that this was it for Mehmet. I mean, we definitely didn't build to it, but unless you count like just sitting around for 15 episodes, we didn't actually build to the reveals in this episode really either.
Not
it's
really.
finally just one character goes, okay, look, here's everything that you need to know. We're going to move on from here. A little clumsy. But I like how we're looking at stars. And really, this entire Mehmet's entire obsession is stars as well.
Yes.
She likes stars. She likes famous people. And this whole season so far has been, in a way, about idols, about personages, eidolons, people that we look up to. You know, it could be other girls. It could be big sisters. It could be friends. Or heroes, or people stronger than us, or people that we find hot, you know,
Sure.
whatever. Like, it's kind of all been about that. Instead of just running around and eating or whatever it's been about before, it's all about every one of these girls is sort of like got somebody that they look up to and they admire, and it's about how they sort of deal with that. You know, it's about hero worship.
It is about hero worship, and it is also about stars too, because like the Death Busters, the Death Busters symbol, it has been like a star this entire time.
Yeah, I know.
They all have had some sort of star insignia.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just okay. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's just iconography.
I know it's just iconography. It's not as cool as what you said.
That's just
all right? It's what I'm adding to the
symbology.
conversation. Okay.
But I mean, they are paying that off.
Yeah.
Very smartly with what I said before. Like, it could have just been their stars, and then they're also just running around and doing stuff. But like, it's very much that. And if I look back, I don't think anything else matches that. You know, the first season is just, you know, you're a superhero and you're just going to kill some people, and they're going to be weird monsters, and sometimes they're tennis players or something. And the second season, you know, we already talked about how I think the second season is about girls viewing themselves as women, or seeing, you know, the sort of evil, vain version of women that they don't want to be, that they, you know, as heroes aren't going to grow up to be, obviously, but could be a dark reflection through the mirrors of the UFO that we see. And so this show's really deep, man. This is what I'm trying to say.
It can be.
It's pretty deep.
Yeah.
It's pretty deep. All right? And then sometimes a girl eats an entire cake without her hands.
I know. I know. And then we do something completely ridiculous, or we have a globe full of misty stardust or what have you.
Then the swerve comes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I feel like maybe we should do like another episode. Maybe in the next episode, you talk about what you think is going to happen next. I feel like we should have like one more before the end of the season.
Let's see, this is the 9th. There's 8 more episodes left. So, oh boy. I mean, throw a 2-parter in there, and there's like 7 episodes left.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know that we're building up to something. I'm doing an impromptu one now, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I know that we're building up to something, but they're not leaving themselves a lot of room left here. I'm trying to think of where we were when, let's say, I don't know, Esmeralda turned into a dragon.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think there was probably 8 or 9 episodes left after that.
I think so.
So I think we're, you know, this is right at the time that the swerve happens. Some goofy thing is going to happen, and you're going to be like, what? This is the new status quo? As for what that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll record or at least write down before I watch the episode.
Okay.
And we can do that like on the next show.
Okay, that sounds good.
So you'll know these are my impressions. And if they're all wrong, I'll just be shaking my head as I'm reading them off. But they'll be my impressions before I see what will definitely be revealed to be the new status quo in the next episode.
I don't.
If I had
think
thought
they'll all
about
be
it, I
wrong.
would have done it for this episode.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they'll all be wrong. So.
But I was too busy looking up amazing names like Mario McRolling or Dean Wesry.
Dean Wesry.
Yeah.
I knew a Dean Wesry once.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he was friends with Anatoly Smorin. How would you describe Just Enough Trope.
We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin.
Yeah, check these fresh moves.
Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold
I
Jedi.
think it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of Jean Grey.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on his
Oh, wow.
Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and geek fondue. Every Monday on the Just Enough Trope Podcast Network.
Loving me never have a say you so sorry.
What? Today for Kyo Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, where we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode, we're going to be talking about America's influence over Japanese pop culture in the 1950s. And I know that's very specific, or what I like to call motorcycles, greasers, rockabilly, and blue jeans. So here we go.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's,
Buckle up.
Yeah.
I think kind of inspired. I mean, I know that like
Hoppy days.
Hoppy days. Yeah. Like, I mean, I know that Thomas Harris's look is kind of punk, but it's almost kind of like a pompadour a little bit too. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit of a
little
reach.
bit. Look, you know what? I don't
It
care.
doesn't matter.
No, this is a part of an ongoing cultural sort of
It
study
is.
that we've been doing. I mean, we already talked about like the flappers,
The
Japanese
moga.
flappers of the 20s.
Yes.
And the wild girls.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, you think about it. This is a country that was like in the midst of like, oh, the necktie, neat. That's my. How would you summarize the westernization of Japan? Oh, necktie, pretty cool. They were like kind of picking all this stuff up.
Yes.
And then as soon as they were kind of got their hands on it, boom! Did you hear that? Boom! Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, new thing now. American GI going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And maybe never fully leave until much later.
Yes.
And then how does that affect everything? It would
Yeah.
absolutely affect
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah. And I was going to say, like, America had a profound influence over Japan's pop culture in the 1950s. And just exactly what you're saying, you have to keep in mind that Japan had just lost World War II. And the U.S. military occupied Japan for much of the decade, like you were saying.
Yeah.
American culture being absorbed from soldiers to the Japanese youth with just one way that it was integrated. But it also, came over the way a lot of things come over from a lot of other different countries. Like American films such as The Wild One, starring Marlon Brando, and James Dean's Rebel Without a Cause became incredibly popular and influential in how the Japanese thought of Americans. American music such as Elvis Presley also became really popular. Some of the stuff we've talked about a little bit before. Zoku is a Sino-Japanese term meaning tribe, clan, or family. And as a suffix, it has been used extensively within Japan to define subcultural phenomena, though many Zoku do not acquire the suffix. So it's not like you can add Zoku to everything.
It's like the Bosuzuku.
Yeah, right. Which we'll talk about actually a little bit. A Zoku may be labeled with a Japanese stem, e.g. Kaminari Zoku, or a foreign language stem, for example, Saike Zoku, where Saike comes from psychedelic.
Whoa.
Yeah. So subcultures that emerged in the early post-war decades include the motorcycle riding Thunder Tribe, Kaminari Zoku, the amplified music-loving Electric Tribe, Ereki Zoku, and the Psychedelic Tribe, Saike Zoku.
What?
Yeah. Although
they all get racial bonuses, +2 to charisma.
I know, but like you try to look up at any of them and you don't really find a lot of information about them. So I don't know how long they were around because as we've talked about before too, like lots of times there are trends and things happening in Japan and then they go away or they ebb and they flow, you know?
Would the Japanese not be interested in preserving that? I don't know the state. I mean, I'm not, you know, they're like anybody else. They have all the things that we do and they care about all the things we do. But I'm just saying, like, at that period, I don't know what the state of cultural sociology would be for them. Like, did they have, and now, of course, pop culture is culture. And so, you know, you got a lot of trust fund kids with master's degrees who are trying to look back at, you know, what was that? Well, you know, what did Romanians think about the Teletubbies in 1999?
Right.
And so, but I wonder, like, if maybe there aren't a lot of extant sources of the time other than just Grandpa used to yell about the Bosuzuku were too loud and they do it by his house.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Although zoku was applied to others in society like senior citizens, salarymen, and political activists, it was mostly used to label youth subcultures. And speaking more about that, Shintaro Ishihara's 1950s novel Season of the Sun gave rise to a reckless and carefree expression of youth, which became stylized in subsequent films as Taiyo Zoku or Sun Tribe. Huh. This subculture had some parallels with the rocker and greaser subcultures being promoted by Hollywood films, such as, again, Rebel Without a Cause.
Yeah.
Which was just huge. And then
Planetarium.
Can I say something that's going to be...
There's a planetarium in Rebel Without a Cause.
You're right, there is. Can I say something?
It's kind of a tragic end. It's not a good scene with the planetarium, but...
I've got an unpopular opinion. I think Rebel Without a Cause was disappointing.
Overrated.
It's overrated. And like, I'd just seen pictures and pictures of James Dean. He looks so cool. And then the movie is just kind of... It's kind of wet noodles, if you ask me.
All right, I'll tell you. I'll say a couple things.
Okay.
For the time, nobody was acting like that.
Yes.
That was like the...
Yes. And that's what we have to be remembered too.
Well, yeah. I mean, 1955, it was, war movies and teeny bopper movies and like big productions, important movies. And nobody was really like acting like that, at the time. And, for his name, James Dean.
Yeah.
James Dean was, like a method guy,
yes.
James Whitmore student, and he studied under Strasberg,
yes.
in the early 50s. And so like he was bringing that to the screen. And I don't know a lot about the specifics of the production of Rebel Without a Cause, but like there was a decision made that it's like, this is going to be real. Normally you would see this kind of overacting in Reefer Madness, or the kind of B movies or the biker movies of the time, but they wanted to make like a mainstream movie that was for the kids and the teens, and it was going to have this acting. And so we got that from James Dean. And of course he didn't, go on too much longer, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately.
Also, Natalie Wood is a revelation in that, like she was, sort of a big film for her and went on to, didn't have her for a long time either. And also, was it Sal Mineo?
I don't know.
There's a gay character.
Oh, that's right.
And his gayness is not, it's just treated mostly as,
this is just a person.
It's tragic because he, it leads to him wanting things he can't have and leads to, the tragedy for the character. But,
yes.
So I will give it those things.
Yes.
That being said, I don't think that it ages well in terms of the style of the acting and I mean, it's seen as this classic.
Yeah.
And it is kind of, I feel like it is kind of like a B movie still, which is fine. It's just fine. And you get out of it what you can, but
it's kind of a snapshot for the times, though.
Yeah,
and
certainly.
And it being groundbreaking.
And he's got the jacket, and he's holding the cigarette the weird way, and
he's got the rolled up jeans.
There's a lot of iconic stuff in it, but if you tune in thinking that it's just going to be him riding around on a motorcycle and holding cigarettes weird,
you're wrong.
You're wrong. It is a definite. It's a problem movie. It has something specific to say, specifically about the way that we treat teenagers, which I think is also an important.
It is also an important message.
Which is something that not everybody was saying back then. Remember, the teenager was new.
Yeah, that term.
Point. Just the idea of having a teenager and that being a phase of your life was still relatively new back then.
Which is also weird.
So I will give it all of its credits. I will also agree not as good as people say it is.
Well, another film, a Japanese film, which I don't know how well it stands up, but Crazed Fruit, or Kurata Kajitsu, also known as Juvenile Jungle.
Whoa!
Yeah, is a 1956 Japanese Sun Tribe film directed by Ko Nakahira. Oh my gosh. Directed by Ko Nakahira. It is an adaptation of the novel of the same name by Shintaro Ishihara, so the same author who coined this Sun Tribe, and the older brother of the cast member Yujiro Ishihara, and is about two brothers who fall in love with the same woman and the resulting conflict. The film was controversial upon its release because of its depiction of Japanese youth. Surprise, surprise. It would later be known as a foundational work of the Sun Tribe genre.
This kind of sounds like a rebel without a cause.
It kind of does. It kind of sounds like the Japanese version of that. So I kind of wonder how well that holds up.
Yeah.
Bosuzuku, or literally running out of control as of a vehicle tribe, is a Japanese youth subculture. We've talked about them before, associated with customized motorcycles. The first appearance of these types of biker gangs was in the 1950s. Bosuzuku style traditionally involves boiler suits similar to those of manual laborers or leather military jackets with baggy pants and tall boots. This uniform became known as tokkōfuku, or special attack clothing, and is often adorned with kanji slogans. So probably kanji slogans like on the back of their worker suit or their leather jacket.
Okay.
Typical accessories to this uniform are hachimaki, which is, again, the handkerchiefs that you can wear that say like kamikaze or stuff like that.
Sure.
Surgical masks and patches displaying the rising sun flag. Bosuzuku members are known for taking a Japanese road bike and adding modifications such as oversized fairings, lifted handlebars, shifted inwards, large seat backs. So yeah, lifted handlebars that are shifted inwards, if that makes sense. So like the bars would be pointed towards you.
Yeah.
So it looks very different.
Like on a chopper.
Yeah. Also like extravagant paint jobs and modified mufflers. Bosuzuku styles take inspiration from choppers, greasers, and teddy boys, which is from Great Britain. Yeah. From the 50s.
Yeah.
Bosuzuku first started as groups of returning World War II veterans. Many veterans faced difficulty readjusting to society after the war, and some turned to custom car making and gang-like activities on city streets to gain an adrenaline fix. They became adrenaline junkies.
Did it for the kicks.
That's right. These early Bosuzuku took inspiration from American greaser culture and imported Western films. Bosuzuku became known for its many similarities to old American biker culture. Many younger individuals began to see the style of life as very appealing, especially marginalized individuals looking for change. Eventually, these youngsters took over the identity, becoming the foundation of the modern Bosuzuku. The word Bosuzuku is also applied to motorcycle subculture with an interest in motorcycle customizing, often illegal, and making noise by removing the mufflers on their vehicles. These Bosuzuku groups sometimes ride without motorcycle helmets, which in Japan is illegal. Also engage in dangerous or reckless driving, such as weaving in traffic and running red lights. Bosuzuku are known to modify their motorcycles in peculiar and showy ways, which are called kaishowa, or modified vehicles. The general style of Bosuzuku bike modifications appears to combine elements of an American chopper bike and a British cafe racer. So we're getting a lot of the combined cultures of both the U.S. and Britain a little bit. Mm-hmm. Traditional Japanese considered the post-war Taiyu Zoku violent and promiscuous, and that was the Sun Tribe. Some Japanese youths admired American music, and Japanese Bill Haley clones were known as Rockabilly Zoku, or the Rockabilly Tribe. So Rockabilly it's a little bit country, it's a little bit rock and roll. It's it's Elvis Presley,
right.
just in case.
You just killed it by comparing it to the Osmonds.
Oh, okay, all right. Country music was popular with the U.S. forces, and Japanese country music acts would perform at the bases. And rockabilly began to become really popular in Japan, just as it was in the West. And so then rockabilly groups started to form. So they began performing in 1958 in Japan, and thousands of Japanese teenagers rallied behind them. This created the first popular culture movement after post-occupation, which was referred to by some as a rockabilly bomu or a rockabilly boom. The most well-known artists are the three rockabilly guys, and they are Masaki Hirao, who was the guy I mentioned earlier who wrote the song about the stars, Kejiro Yamashita, and Mickey Curtis. Misa Watanabe, a promoter, daughter of a talent agent, and manager of the music cafe Tennessee, put together the Western Carnival show at the Nichigeki Theater in Tokyo, which was 2,000 plus seats. It was held twice a year and lasted about a week. Misa received the nickname Rockabilly Madam by the media. And from 1959 to 1960, Watanabe developed and funded Japan's first music variety show, The Hit Parade, with Fuji TV, and got twin sisters Emi and Yumi Ito, who make up the music group The Peanuts, to host the program. Oh. Yeah. Which featured many rockabilly artists singing pop and Kayōkyoku music, which is a Japanese pop music genre which became the base of modern J-pop. The Japan Times described Kayōkyoku as standard Japanese pop or Showa-era pop.
How do you think cowboy movies do in Japan?
I think they do probably pretty well.
Those are like the biggest loss in cinema is the fact that like there's deserts and small arid areas, but there's no like deserts in Japan. You can't do cowboy movies in Japan because there's no desert to ride through on a horse with no name. Now, arguably, samurai and the samurai story is akin of the sort of cowboy story, without those two even really knowing about each other.
Yes.
They're very similar, and like America's definitely tried to make its share of like samurai type movies, and has even made Bruce Willis movies based on samurai movies that were based on cowboy movies that were based on the idea of the samurai.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I just want to give like some Japanese filmmaker like, $50 million and just have him, go to Spain or whatever and just, or Italy and just shoot,
a cowboy movie.
Just make a cowboy movie, but everybody's Japanese. You know what I mean? And don't worry about the railroad or anything like that. Just make it totally a cowboy movie, but through the Japanese filter. And I'm sure the Western distribution will give it some dumb name like A Fistful of Noodles or something like that. But,
oh my God, probably.
But whatever. Just let it speak for itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that would be really cool. I'd really like to see that.
All right. Well, first 50 million, that's what I'll do.
Okay. That sounds good. Rockabilly Zoku wore fashion from images that they found in magazines or U.S. films, and rockabilly was soon singled out by the PTAs, local authorities, and police as a cause of juvenile delinquency. Coinciding with massive protests by student progressives against the doggedly pro-American administration of the newly elected Prime Minister, Nobusuke Kishi, the Robiki Zoku movement was brief, but paved the way for the development of the pop culture industry of the early 1960s. Bursting into Japan's national consciousness in February 1958, this rockabilly and its rabid following had effectively burned out by the end of 1959. The genre has seen several revivals throughout the years, though. So it does come back, and you do see this with like a lot of different things in Japanese culture. There's like waves, of popularity.
Yeah. It's funny that like people got so upset about rock music. A lot of it was, seeing how their young daughters and sisters were reacting to some of the acts. But and then you listen to it and it's like, especially the white artists, we're going to rock around the clock. Come on, everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's like this is what they were upset about.
Was it that? Or was it like, I don't want my daughter getting excited about Little Richard singing about Lucille or whatever?
Maybe.
Was it a racist thing?
Do you think it was just racist, though? Because people didn't like Elvis either.
Yeah, because he was too black sounding. This is the problem with, like, and now we need a new... I love that we need to, like, hide let's hide the good stuff. Everything has to be, it's an airplane going in, I put a little mashed potatoes on the broccoli, and so, come on, open wide.
I'm scared.
But we have to, like, change everything, because the little babies don't want to hear what it is. But, like, the thing about critical race theory, I said is that you spend hundreds of years not thinking about race at all as a factor. Suddenly everything becomes critical race theory.
Yeah.
So you could look back and you go, oh, we've never thought about this before. It's like when you see the video of like, oh, we gave this person like an implant, a cochlear implant, and they heard their baby cry for the first time or something. And they're like, oh my God, you see this person's face. And it's like this whole new world's been open to them. Yeah. It could be like that, only terrible stuff. It's just all going to be terrible stuff. Now, it's all terrible stuff in our past. Yeah. And we need to reconcile with it.
Absolutely.
You look at like, a great example is this meme that's going around where you see like the state of Alabama and you see, thousands of years ago, 1 million years ago, the glaciers came through a certain area and they deposited all this, fertile dirt, in this area. So that's where all the good growing area is, in the middle of the state. Sure. So that's where all the farms were.
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
So when all the slaves were liberated, that's where they settled and lived because they didn't have money to go anywhere else.
Right.
And so now you look at the voting maps of today and they're all voting Democrat.
Yeah.
And now the rest of the state is all Republican.
Right.
It's like, that's critical race theory. That's looking at how the past has brought us to where we are now.
Yeah.
And just for me, as somebody, as a fan of rock and roll music and as a fan of pop culture, just looking back and going, I think they didn't like these girls jumping up and down for this black guy who was singing this good music.
It's definitely a factor, I think. I think you can't ignore that it's there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that was all of it, but that's definitely part of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
These British guys with the long hair.
Yeah, I know.
They're all white.
Japan was, and for the most part still is, a collectivist culture compared to the individualist United States. This tendency to prioritize the group over one's own interests is an integral aspect of Japanese culture, but it can be largely suffocating. It's also a crucial reason, perhaps, for Japan's love of American entertainment, which depicts a rebellious, adventurous kind of way of life that few Japanese have the opportunity to live. I think that is one reason why, especially in the 50s, a lot of youth of Japan were so drawn to American culture. It's like, it seemed so new and so rebellious, and it's like, oh, well, why can't I not? My parents tell me I have to stay home and do my homework. I could just not do that. What would that be like?
Yeah.
That's,
it's being a teenager.
I mean, it is called being a teenager, but I do think
what did teenagers do before we gave them rock and roll and motorcycles?
I don't know. They must have been very boring.
Sorry.
I'm kidding. So no single object quite summarizes the free-spirited American character as a pair of blue jeans. Jeans are so common today that it's easy to forget that it was
that
once
they were
connected
made
with
for miners.
Well, yeah,
panning for gold.
That it was once connected to rebellious teenagers, and that they were sometimes, forbidden to be worn in schools. So the blue jean has come a long way, and we don't necessarily have that association anymore. But the very attitudes that made jeans contentious in post-war America were the same thing that made them appealing to the Japanese. The template provided by the basic 5-pocket jeans established the framework in which Japanese companies could innovate in areas such as hardware detailing, dyeing, and denim weaving, and the evolution of a style and branding that varied between the direct homage to Americana and being unmistakably Japanese.
Get that big Mickey Mouse
Yes.
iron-on there.
You got it. And I did...
Marvin the Martian.
Yes. Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode? They don't eat in this episode.
No.
Not even at the beginning when they are studying at Hikawa Shrine.
Eats sadness.
Yes.
Because, oh boy, this friend, Chibi, we warned you, except we didn't warn you. We encouraged you all the way.
We totally encouraged you. Why did we do that? Villain gauge, we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The daemon in this episode is named Uchoten. And the daemon's name is...
Uchoten.
Yes. The daemon's name is a reference to the Japanese word Uchoten. So I think it's like Uchoten. It's you don't maybe necessarily emphasize the U, but it's more or less sounds the same, which means ecstasy or to be besides oneself with joy or ecstatic. And if you break down the 3 kanji, the first means summit, top, spire, or top of the head. The second means possession, and the third means sky, heaven, heavenly, or imperial. So it can also mean basically being on cloud 9 or being on top of the world.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Has to have does with stars or something?
We're on top of the
What's
world
the
and we're
connection?
stars. And she's ecstasy. She's a showgirl. I don't know.
She's kind of a showgirl.
She is a showgirl. I did also want to mention that Uchoten is also the name of a Japanese experimental new wave post-punk band that was active in the 1980s and early 1990s. So I don't know if that was in mind when they did this or not, or they're doing everything with ooh and they're just like, you know, she's ecstasy, it's fine. But I wanted to share that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like yes, right? I mean, it's contemporary.
Yeah, it kind of seems like yes. They formed in 1982 and they disbanded in 1991 after releasing 8 studio albums and 2 live albums.
Wait, what was the years again?
They formed
82.
in 82
Okay.
and they disbanded in 91.
Yeah.
So
Well,
9
right.
years.
Maybe not. But
Yeah, but I mean, they would have broken up fairly recently. So.
Yeah.
So her design, she looks like a Vegas showgirl. She has white skin, red star pasties on each breast. A giant yellow star is in front of her bikini area, with 2 small green stars dangling from 2 points. A red feather showgirl skirt with black beads holding it together to the star. And she's also wearing a black beaded necklace and black beaded bracelets. She's wearing a yellow hat with red feathers on it that is fixed with a black star and with more black beads on the back, or it could be a headdress like you were saying. And underneath is a blue globe full of stars. She also has aqua hair that is, it's kind of tied in 2 pointy pigtails. Like it also reminds me of a star. It's very pointy, even though it's kind of wavy hair.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. I like her, basically her, what's it? Her,
Tits?
no, I mean, I was going to say her attitude,
Yes.
all right, join me everyone, wish upon a star. And then she says, gaze up at the night sky. And in response to your calls to an encore, wish upon a star. It's like, nobody called for an encore, honey, but okay, here we go.
She's, look, she's here for one number.
Yes.
And she's just going to do the number. And if they ask for an encore, it's the number
They're
again.
going to get it. Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of weird references to things that I don't support necessarily in this episode.
Oh
But
my
it reminds
gosh.
me of the member of the band in The Wedding Singer who dresses like Boy George.
Yes.
And like The only
That's
song he
true.
knows is "Do you really want to
wanna
hurt me?" And so while the wedding, Adam Sandler's off doing something, he's doing that, and then the song ends. And they're like, "Another one." Do you really want? It's like, all right, he's on number 3. I better get back up there. Yeah. So she's just gonna, this is her number. She does stars. You want stars? I'll show you stars.
Oh, wish upon a star, shooting stars at you. Okay, now we're up to our rating. Honestly, I think that her overall design is pretty good, except that this is a kid show and she's showgirl. But I understand what they were going for. I like her catchphrase, wish upon a star, even though TM. And that she shoots stars of energy at people with her hat. I like that once the outer layer of the hat is taken off, she gets even more powerful. She seems to fly for a little bit, which I think is really cool and everything. So I'm gonna, overall, I think she's pretty good and she's pretty powerful. She's kept the girls like on their toes. I don't know why they don't try anything except like she just keeps to continually bombard them. So I'm giving her 4 out of 5 dark stars because the 4 is because, well, it's a kid's show. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah. Gosh, we really need to find different broadcasting partners. Because I would probably go with it for just about the exact same reasons.
Okay.
I really like this Yoma. I like her attitude.
Yes.
Her design is awesome. Her effectiveness. I like how she's returned to the not quite only saying your name like a Pokemon, but she uses that as like an exclamation point,
Yeah.
Almost like she's like, like, she's giving you the razzle dazzle at the end. Everything is great except for the fact that she is essentially nude.
Yeah.
Just wearing a novelty giant star around her waist. Mm-hmm. And so maybe for a kid's show, not so great. I don't envy the Cartoon Network rotoscopers who had to probably go in frame by frame if this episode aired at all on American TV.
I'll let you know in a little bit.
Yeah. As a showgirl, though, it makes me think of the movie Showgirls.
Oh, my God.
Which is not a great movie, but is a Verhoeven joint. And I'm a Verhoeven boy.
Yes.
And pretty good soundtrack for that film.
Really?
David Bowie.
Okay, sure.
Susie Sue and the Banshees, as mentioned previously on this program. Killing Jokes on there. So, yeah, I mean, like, it's, fun. Fun. Probably could have found a way to emphasize the showgirlness a little more without being so explicit, figuratively and literally.
Yes.
Why
this?
did they do it?
I don't know.
Because in the past, they've done stuff where they'll make her, like, she's got a necklace, like I don't know if they're pearls or whatever it is, just like a beaded necklace.
Black beads, yeah.
You make, like, her neck and face one color and the rest of her body, like, a slightly darker color, and then you've got, like, it's a shirt.
Plausible deniability.
Right, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they'll put like a thing where, her arms are different colors for some reason. And so it's like, it's just like, it's a shirt or it's a top or something like that. This is just like, nope, she is just hanging loose.
Yep.
And they did that for a reason. And I don't know what the reason is.
They're
listeners, let us know.
Horny animators? I don't know.
Yeah, but of course, they're anime animators.
Yeah.
But that is usually so restrained on this show.
I agree.
What I mean?
Yeah.
They long ago, I think they planted a flag about what they wanted to do and be, and to the point where we don't even there aren't even any panty shots anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty straight up. And so it's a weird swerve for a show that is hardly completely prudish, but this is like, and I don't like hate it, but I am like, I just don't, it's jarring. I approve of it, but you have to sort of ease people into stuff, and there should be reasons for things, and I don't really know why it is the way it is. And so that little bit bothers me enough to say, let's say 4 instead of 5. Yeah. But still solid.
I agree. If we were on My Lovely, where we rate the way that they go out, Hotaru has made her be frozen in place, which, can we talk about that? That's like intense, man. And
Whole person.
Yeah, I know.
That's a 3rd level
right.
cleric spell.
And her expression also fixates on Sailor Moon's attack and her impending doom. And she screams, "Love, lovely," as her arms fail as she turns back into a constellation globe. This was okay, but I think we could have done more. She has the shape of a large star on the front of her outfit, and they could have had some way more fun when she breaks through the heart, I thought. So I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 stars.
I'm also going to give it 3. We got to come up with some game where we have to, do a shot or something like that.
If we get the
exact
same
score.
Oh
I'm also giving it a 3, just because this is like the platonic, speaking of Plato, the platonic ideal of a lovely. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. It's clean. It doesn't overstay its welcome, but it doesn't differentiate from anything, especially somebody who is so flamboyant, as a demon. It just kind of goes out normal style. I don't know if I want to do a pirouette or something, or maybe just say Uchoten again.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
There's not much to say about it.
It's adequate. Yeah.
Right down the middle. 3. We'll call you.
That's right. Now we are up to our rating. I like how Chibiusa is being a mooch and asking Usagi to bring a mission for 2 because she's her daughter. And something that she's never played up before. I also like how this ridiculousness is happening at the same time that Ray is experiencing the waking nightmare.
I know, Ray is just hearing screams.
It's such a great contrast. I love it.
What kind of ice cream you guys want?
She's just smiling, this pained smile. I know. I like that Mehmet asks for Thomas's autograph before she takes his pure heart and he throws a chair at her. I like how intense the daemon is by throwing stars of energy around and the girls don't seem to know what to do. I like that it's revealed that Hotaru is Sailor Saturn and that she immobilizes the daemon. I also like how as soon as the enemy is gone, the outer senshi immediately combine their powers to attack Hotaru. And they do what they said they were going to do from the very beginning. It's just, wow. Just flabbergasted. And I also like that Chibiusa and Sailor Moon prevent that from happening. And they both protect Hotaru. This is a really strong episode. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 roses.
All right. Let's see. 4 stars for the demon from me. Stars and stars. You want stars?
Yes.
Stars. I feel like going forward, gotta save these roses.
Yeah.
I'm expecting big things.
Yes.
And so I got to go with 4 roses.
Okay.
Although, strong episode.
Yes.
But good. Just go with me the whole way.
Yes.
Good dumps.
I would agree.
Maybe too dumpy.
Too dumpy.
Right?
Too many dumps.
Think of, and we've done this song and dance. Mehmet, falls in love with her target.
Yeah.
How deeply we want to go into that. But, there could have been a little more with her and the music and the DJ or whatever. And then we get to the thing, and it's basically, the middle part is just Tatsuna kind of telling everybody stuff that we already know as the audience.
Yes.
Now we're just getting everybody on the same page.
Right.
And then a Yoma that goes a little too far.
Yep.
But is also very interesting. So really good stuff. Very little bad stuff. Maybe just not going to get the 5 because there could have been even more good stuff. It could have been good the whole way.
Yeah.
But again, like the Yoma, solid. Hate to not detracting. It just not showing up and hitting on all cylinders to get that 5.
I get it.
So definitely a superlative episode, not the superlatist. And you can, in fact, you should quote me on that.
Okay.
But otherwise,
Maybe I
yeah.
will.
Liked the fact that they're just kind of making explicit the themes that I talked about before about like idols and looking up to somebody, that it being a theme for the entire season, kind of coming into fruition here. Also like that, for all the hemming and hawing over taking a pure heart, looking for a talisman, as soon as she goes nuclear. They are going to murder a child.
I know.
This is a triple murder of a child.
I know.
And there is no hesitation on their parts as far as
None.
that goes. So it shows us that, yes, I will shoot myself with a shotgun in a cathedral. That was then. This is now.
Yes.
And now I'm going to murder a kid. Because that's the level that we're at. So the stakes are, higher than Tuxedo Mask can climb.
Yeah, they are dedicated.
Yeah. So looking forward to the future.
Yes. My English title is Guardian of Doom, Destruction Destined.
I like that.
Yeah.
Dark destructions don't die.
That's right.
That's pretty solid. Mine is going to stay in the song realm, and there's a Prince song called Baby I'm a Star, but my title is Baby You're a Star.
Oh, I like that.
Look me over. Tell me if you like what you see. Right?
Yes.
Purple Rain.
I love that song.
Every time I theory about Purple Rain is a Ziggy Stardust type rock opera, and just nobody knows it.
Oh, no.
It's about the artist. I know he wasn't the artist back then, but I'm just saying the artist, the man behind all this.
Yes.
I don't know it's a movie, but like he shows up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the progression of the songs is that he is introducing himself to you. He is, then he's a star. He gains in popularity. Computer Blue or something. not sure how that. Still working on the theory. And then by the end, he has to go away.
Yeah.
And then that's Purple Rain.
Oh my God.
He's leaving in the rain.
Yeah. I think that is perfect, and I love that. I think maybe you have told me that before. I feel like I've listened to it and thought of it that way, and it works. I don't know what Computer Blue is. What do you want?
Computer Blue is the industry
want?
trying to
mess
find a
around.
category for him,
Yeah.
trying to put him in a box.
Right.
Find the righteous one. Computer Blue. Yeah, but anyway, Baby, You're a Star.
Yeah, okay.
You might not know it now. Baby, but I are.
No.
I'm a star.
Next episode, we are talking about episode number 120. Ijigen Kara no Shinraku, Mugen Gakuen no Nazo in Japanese. An invasion from another dimension, Mystery of Infinity Academy, the English translation, and the English title, Next in Line.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Next in line. Well, uh-oh. Oh, no.
What?
Oh, no. Gonna be a bloody evil acrobat costume hanging in the Batcave. Oh, no.
No, I don't know.
I don't want to watch it.
I don't know.
I've been not cheating, but I've been looking around a little bit. And like you said, the Infinity Academy, another translation would be the Silence Academy.
Oh, really?
Mugen, those characters,
Okay.
can also be interpreted as silence.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So we got another Scythe Glaive
There you
situation
go.
on our hands.
Well, Mugen Academy was a very huge part of the manga, and they just squeezed it in at the back.
It's 7 episodes.
Yeah. So it was.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was a huge
Manga fans.
huge part of the manga.
Well, when we do Sailor manga,
Yeah, there you
we'll
go.
have to talk about Mugen Academy. Aw, I feel bad.
Sometimes I really do feel like there are parts of the manga that I like more than parts of the anime. But sometimes they get it right, and sometimes they do something completely different, and I like it anyways. So there you go.
Speaking of squeezing things in where they don't fit,
Yes.
keep talking. We are looking at doing a new schedule for the show
Yes.
in the future. And what that would look like is us taking the last Friday of every month off.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, and especially when we came up with this whole thing and started doing this whole thing,
Yes.
we're just going to do this forever.
Yeah, we're going
And-
to keep going.
Believe it or not, 100, what?
South Park, he's like
Lot of-
beefcake.
A lot of references
Anyways.
to a lot of cartoons that we don't actually really watch all that much. This week, We just thought that we would do it forever. And I mean, 119 episodes in, we mostly have.
Yeah, we have.
And I think every once in a while we've gone, are we doing it too much? And we'll just say, let's take, 2 weeks off or something like that.
Yes.
If it's around the holidays or Christmas or something. And normally that has worked pretty well up to this point. Mm-hmm. But there's been a couple times where either circumstances, don't allow us to get something out on time, or, we're going out of town or something like that, and we are not as ahead as we would like to be. Yeah. And instead of rushing to get something done, we take the week off. And also there's just like the mental health aspect of it,
I would agree
I'm
with
somebody who, I'm a real nose-grindstoner. That's not a thing. And and I'm the guy that, will look up and, it's midnight and everybody else is gone. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry, I worked too long. And so to avoid, putting ourselves in a situation like that, it's probably smart to build the release valve in, and to build the brakes in.
I think you're right.
And
I think that's very smart.
Yeah. And so that's 4 shows a month, right?
More or less.
In some small cases, it might be 3 shows a month, but just expect whatever the last Friday of every week is. So in this case, show this Friday, today, show next week, and then we'd take the 29th off.
Sure.
And then be back on the 5th.
Sure.
And so, for the rest of the year, you're only losing 5 shows out of that, right?
Yeah.
So, or 6 shows maybe. And so, that's not going to derail us too much. We have a plan looking forward as to when we'll get to the end of this thing, and still talking about kind of what we'll do maybe after, if we go on or not.
Yes.
It kind of depends on what people want to hear. But just to pad that in and make sure that we don't completely lose our minds. And also just to give ourselves more leeway if something does come up. I think that's probably what we'll do from now on. And as far as the Patreon goes, that's no interruption in that. We'll just do that week to week.
We'll just
it's
keep doing
fun.
that.
It doesn't bother us to do. And it's kind of built into our schedule anyway. So expect regular Patreon updates for both Inner and Outer Senshi. But yeah, going forward, just, that Friday, do something else.
Yeah.
Or that's when you can flip over and listen to our other content on our
true.
Patreon.
That's true.
Which you can find
Absolutely.
at patreon.com/Noob.
Well, I think that sounds like an excellent idea. We all need a mental health break, and I think it's a good idea to build it in.
Give Hotaru a mental health break.
Yeah, Hotaru needs a mental health break.
Out.
I know she's sleeping at the end of this episode.
Take some her time.
I think she needs more than that, especially worried about her with Kaori watching over her.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, that's intense. She can call her back. That's what happened, right? She called her back.
I guess she's got teleportation powers.
She could
teleport
flit
a shirt
around
on.
and yeah, right.
That was another.
Why would she do that?
A lot of boobs in this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of boobs.
Anyway,
well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Glaive and